I'm speaking to Richard Lundgren, who is a training director for GUE. Richard, I only discovered today that you were the training director of GUE. I was quite shocked because the organisation is quite, not secretive, but not well known at the higher echelons.
Yeah, that's actually correct. We made a move to actually from stepping up from one training director to stepping up to 5, to be more diverse as an organisation and so on. And really, the organisation is still small, and our intention is kind of to keep it small also.
Is that why there's only 2, for instance, training officers in the UK at the minute? I think you've only got 2.
Yeah, you have, I think it's 2 active ones that we have now, but we have more in the loop, developing into instructors. And by the end of the next couple of years, I'm pretty confident that we will have more instructors, GUE instructors here in Britain.
Could you tell me a bit about the new course, the open water DIR course that you've introduced?
Yeah,
what is the motivation behind that?
Yeah, the motivation is really to have a complete system. It's kind of odd to have a training organizations that only train top-level divers. And we want to create our own holistic systems when it comes to diving. And it's natural for us to step down to open water basic training also.
Is this the beginning of DIR becoming a more of a commercially sort of large organization?
I don't know about commercially, but doing it right is big. It's huge out there around the world. It's pretty much the most well-known diving style that you can find, actually.
Our statistics on the websites that we run in the diving network, one of the most highly searched terms is DIR.
Yeah, and that's kind of flattering, really. It's also scary in a way, because we created kind of this system 4, 5, 6 years ago, and now it's become a worldwide trend. And if you walk around this dive show, you will actually see how much influence it actually have, even in Britain.
Do you think, in terms of how DIR works with rebreathers, that you can improve on the relationship between the DIR concept and rebreather diving?
Yeah, this is a kind of a controversial issue, because really, doing it right, we only have one system that we truly believe is pretty much doing it right. Actually, open circuit diver will always be the #1 choice for us, but in some cases we do want to use rebreathers, and then we go on to a mechanical semi-closed rebreather.
With deep diving and DIR diving, you're always going to have the overheads of open circuit as opposed to the rebreather, which can allow you to dive cheaper and with less gas. That's the real crux of it.
Yeah, that's somewhat what kind of brings confusion to the equation also, because if I'm gonna do 100-meter dive using my rebreather, I actually end up carrying one more bottle compared to open circuit divers, because even if I'm using my rebreather, I still need to carry bailout, not only for me but for my team also. So you can't really make any shortcuts while doing it right. You need to take care of yourself and your team's gas needs in a situation like that.
At your show, the presentation today, what were you talking about in the show?
Yeah, we talked about GUE's research effort in Scandinavia, northern part of Europe, when it comes to archaeological research that we do up in the Baltic regarding ancient shipwrecks and so on. And we talked about all of these amazing discoveries that we have done during the last 5 years. We have found more than 40 new wrecks, and have a lot of fun while we're actually searching for these wrecks and finding them and documenting them.
All your expedition diving is based obviously around the DIR style of diving.
Yeah, mostly. When I started to get heavily involved with the expedition diving, my first biggest expedition was in '97 with Kevin Gurr from UK, and from that actually I was really enjoying this expedition kind of diving, so it kind of evolved. And when we realized our dreams within GUE to create that system, it's become a GUE thing that we pursue. And GUE is actually 40% all about training, but 60% is about research and environmental research and so on, and conservation and preservation.
Swedish divers, How many divers? What is the percentage of divers in Sweden? It must be very high for the amount of divers I've met.
Yeah, it's kind of. I think it's high. We have a lot of people that do travel abroad and only dive abroad in low and warm waters. But we also have a small but pretty eager beaver group of divers that no matter how cold it is in the water and anything, they still enjoy it. So if you're an active diver in Scandinavia, you're usually kind of very motivated and committed to the sport.
What projects have you got coming up this year?
And this year we're going up to Narvik above the Arctic Circle, and we're gonna do a big film expedition shooting high definition video on two destroyers that got sank during World War II. One is Syracuse and one is a Polish destroyer, Grom. And Grom is situated 100 meters down in the cold and dark waters of Narvik.
What sort of extra measures, safety measures, would you take for that sort of cold water diving at 100 meters?
The only extra thing that you really need to take care of is the risk of hypothermia. So you can't really extend your bottom time. I mean, if this would be...
But your long deco at that sort of temperature...
Yeah, we can't really build up that massive amount of deco that we could do in a more controlled environment and warmer environment. So we need to keep our bottom times to not more than 20 minutes at 100 meters and so on.
Could you do me a favor? Could you explain to me in a couple of minutes what deco on the fly is so that people can understand the difference in that concept, which is very different from normal recreational and technical diving?
Yeah. Actually, deco on the fly or ratio deco is it's just a simple tool, a thing that you can use, like a simple math quiz that you can do in your head actually to find your out bottom time and how much deco that will actually give you after a certain dive. All of this, the way we created this deco profile was to find a trend in the compared to bottom time, depth, and time you spent in exposure that actually made us find some small trends. And this sounds like rocket science, but it's actually really easy. And if you would do a dive, take one dive, that would be a dive between 30 and 51 meters using 21-35% trimix or triox. That would what you will find is that you have a set point depth at 45 meters, where you actually have a ratio of 1-to-1 when it comes to bottom time and deco time. So if you do 10 minutes of bottom time at 45 meters, it gives you 10 minutes of total decompression time if you use a deco bottle like 50% nitrox. So it's kind of easy actually, and the reason why we have this tool is actually to make the divers, not to plan the dives with this technique, but to be able to overcome problems that might occur underwater if they extend the bottom time, if they extend the depth or so on.
I like the fact that you understand what you're doing. There's less dependency on the computer to do everything for you.
Yeah.
There's less surprises.
Yeah, less surprises, and it's always better to be, the lead dog. Not following the trend, you're setting the trends underwater.
I've spoken to Richard Walker, one of your divers, about this, and I know Mark Chase interviewed, had the Fundies training with Richard Walker and discussed in Travel Dive his feelings about that.